I'm on a 30-hour marathon. I think I've slept maybe an hour and 45 minutes in the last 30 hours. Blood's still pumping. Wanted to come live on air for the people. Still got a lift in. Did fucking 15 singles, power cleans, 315 pounds. 15 singles, pop, 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 in sequence. Perfect fucking technique. Tired to the bone. 37 years old in July. Still standing. Just witnessed a natural home birth from start to finish. Intense as fuck, as you can imagine. I think some motherfuckers were asking me for a protocol on how to instruct or how to lead gestation up into like a natural home birth. First of all, I'll tell you right now, natural home birth is the natural conclusion to any strong relationship. I've been rotating a theory that I think is extremely valid, that the more drugs a woman needs in pregnancy to make a delivery, the weaker the leadership was during gestation. Because ultimately, it is a two-way street. It does take two to tango. If you're a male leader in your household and you really are man of the house and man of the kingdom, your woman will draw a copious amount of strength off of just the fumes of your sales. Just your mere presence is sort of the Novocaine. It is sort of that hormonal transduction. So I think the strongest relationships naturally lead to a woman wanting to do it in a natural environment that she can curate on her own. She can fucking design the room the way she wants to design it. Let me tell you something. These water births are super legit. This was my first water birth, and it's just super easy. Little inflatable tub, pop in a fucking hose, run the line up into the fucking shower head, fill it up with hot water, boom, little playpen. And she's just in there chilling, switching positions, and the delivery is extremely seamless. At least it was in my case, as long as the diet's on point. It was fun. It was fun. I'll tell you something. That Valkyrie Athenian warrior fucking battle cry that women do, shit's strong. That shit hits for sure. It's like one of those echoes. I think Maximus fucking in Gladiator said that what you do in this life echoes in eternity. Those types of screams you'll never ever replicate in nature. There's just nothing that compares to it. It gets etched in your fucking head. 100%. Some other little fucking Snapple facts for you. During a pregnancy, it is 100% appropriate for a woman to sip on, and I'm not talking shotgunning, I'm talking sipping organic, biodynamic, natural wine. A lot of European women have been doing it for ages, Italians, French women. Only in America do we vilify and bastardize alcohol usage during pregnancy, and it's for obvious reasons because traditional industrial alcohol is fucking disgusting. It's wretched. It's got sawdust in it, fucking rat talons. It's a fucking medley of trash in a fucking barrel. But if you do it right and you pick the right vineyard, because let me tell you something, in the modern realm, the beauty of modernity is that you do have these psycho fanatical freaks who literally dedicate their life and their bloodline to growing the finest fucking grapes in the finest regions. And I'm talking, they have this down to a natural science. Even like the way the vineyard is pointed, the way they're planted, the angle of the sun, the way it hits the grapes, the altitude, the moisture, the irrigation, all that shit. So if you're getting fucking quality grapes, hey, little fucking sip of wine here and there ain't gonna hurt the pregnancy whatsoever. And right before labor in the natural setting, like if the water breaks a little bit early and you're in pre-labor, she can sip on a glass of wine and just kind of relax before the first stage kicks in. Not harmful whatsoever. And that, again, this is a fucking European ethos. And it seems to me when it comes to these natural processes, they've definitely have that native vibe towards it. But it was fun. It was fun. It was a pleasure to be a part of the entire thing from A to Z and just witness the paradox, the paradox that life, death actually is what spawns life. Um, you know, in the womb, there's during the growth process of the embryo, there's moments in time where the embryo will have like a webbed claw for hands. That's literally what it would look like on a fucking scan. And it's only through death, it's only through those cells dying and sloughing off and going into the waste that reveals the human hand. And so, even before, I find the metaphor very, very ironic. Even before a beautiful life is born, a lot of processes are dying and being killed off in order for that life to happen. And those of you that have a giga brain can definitely extrapolate that metaphor out into a lot of different processes in life. So we're gonna shift gears. Someone asked me earlier today, this is just a random musing. Someone asked me my thoughts on Naval Ravikant. And I don't know too much about him. I've seen some of his quotes in circulation on Twitter. I've seen he's definitely got some hard hitting one liners that have definitely been immortalized in a lot of circles. Dude seems like a deep thinker. Um, and I didn't really know what I thought about him when somebody asked, because I'm not just not familiar with his work. Someone had mentioned that he might be a counterpart to mine or a part of the yin yang puzzle. So I fired up a talk with him, um, with this Kapil, whatever the fuck that guy's name is. And I'm just listening to him, and it just dawned on me, man, these tech billionaires. Tech has not paid off in a good way, my friends. And it is the easiest way to make money, bar none. That is a certified fact. You get very, very, very wealthy in tech, no doubt about it. However, the fact that there's no social aspect to it whatsoever, like if you go back 70 years in history, in order to get giga rich, in order to get the kind of rich that these fucking tech motherfuckers are, you had to literally rub shoulders and grease palms with the local constabulary. You had to have fucking connections to the fucking local law enforcement. You had to fucking, there's fucking bribery and fucking skullduggery and back alley deals and fucking like Mayor Daley in 1960 Chicago, shit like that. And so there was a very much a social aspect to stratifying the hierarchy. And so when I was thinking about Naval, obviously those of you that are familiar with my work, I absolutely do respect anyone who's mastered the game of capitalism and who's beaten the game. But but it is a cursed path because the era of the bad boy is over and it's been dead for some time. Because every man in the modern world is if you want to make big money, you're pretty much forced to make money in a super nerdy gay way. It's just what it is. It's just what the modern landscape offers. I mean, the best ways to make money are fucking dorky. Crypto, I mean, we can go on and on ad infinitum. They're fucking nerdy as fuck. And it's the consequences of this are fucking staggering. I remember It's funny because I come from the era. I'm an '80s baby, so I'm lucky because in my 20s, yeah, we had internet, but it was dinosaur internet. I remember fucking 56K modem. I remember America Online. The bottom line was I'm a hybrid. I'm a hybrid in the sense that I was around in the preeminence of internet, but I also was around in the brick and mortar times. Even gambling as a full suite experience in my 20s, if I wanted to place a bet for large action, I had to literally get on a fucking plane, sail through the skies in an aluminum can, land, jump in a fucking limo. If the line was too long for cabs, this was pre Uber when they only had cabs in Vegas. And if I wanted to fucking get some action down and the cab line was snaking around, it was too long, I'd have to fucking pull out a hundo, go up to a limousine driver, toss him the 100, tell him to step on it, floor it across the fucking strip. This dude's bobbing and weaving on the fucking highway. I'm telling him I got a bet to place. We got to get there, depending on the time, right? Because everything was time dependent when I was in my 20s. We're talking like early 2000s. So if I made a sale or I got a large bag in my possession and I wanted to go fire on a game, I had to fucking book a last minute flight, Southwest, boom, get on, land. If the cab line's long, I got to hop in the limo, boom, he gets me there. By the time I get to the sports book, which was super time dependent because live betting wasn't even a thing. So if you missed the game by a minute at tip off and you just literally got on a fucking 45-minute flight to Vegas from LA, you're fucked. You ain't getting action down on your bet. So if you like something, there were many times where I literally walked up to the fucking counter, and when I slid the fucking bricks of cash across the counter, I had like 45 seconds to spare before first pitch. And then there were other times where I wasn't so fortunate and I just couldn't place the bet at all. And you just went through that whole fucking process of greasing people up, fucking tipping this motherfucker to make this happen, speed this up here, fucking hike this line, call this motherfucker, make sure you're the first guy to get through the door when you land, all that shit. So it was a full suite experience. And what I'm telling you is when I had to place a bet in my 20s, it was inherently a social experience. I had to talk to like 45 different people before I even got to Vegas, before I'm all settled in. You know what I mean? And you're at that point, there's no crypto, there's no fucking e-commerce. So you're literally transporting duffel bags of cash. Like I come from that era where you win $1 million bet and you want to get that money right away. Vegas will pay you in bricks. And now you got to walk out of a casino with $1 million in a duffel bag. It ain't that fucking convenient, but there's a romance to that experience because you're just in you're in Sin City. You're where the alert that, games of chance are late or open fucking 24 hours a day. So it forces you to be social. You win a big bet, you playing craps, anything you do, you're always going to get a nice dinner in Vegas. Like that's always gonna happen. The best steakhouses are open late as fuck. So then you're gonna go sit down and go to dinner. Then you're gonna get a drink. Then you're meeting people, right? So the whole thing had this built-in gregariousness. Even the way you had to close deals in my 20s. There were some nights I'd be waiting to make a sale. There's a bet I wanted to place the next morning. I would literally have to sit at a coffee house sometimes till 9 p.m. at night, sipping back-to-back macchiatos, waiting for a motherfucker in a bowler hat and a trench coat with fucking fisherman boots to walk in the door. I still remember when these motherfuckers would walk in the door, that fucking jingle ball on the fucking door. You hear the fucking door jingle. Motherfucker would come in, sit down. We would ink a deal. I'd get a bag, and then boom, I'm off to the races the next morning. So even just doing typical basic commerce, you had to make eye contact with motherfuckers. There was no fucking hiding behind avatars. There was none of that bullshit. And if you don't think that that's going to develop a razor sharp motherfucking charisma when you're doing face to face sales, you are mega tripping. There is nothing better than just being in the arena every day, doing deals and everything fucking handshakes and face to face. And I got to experience that my entire fucking 20s. Full suite experience. It ain't like that today. I mean, That's one of the biggest reasons why Vegas has been dismantled. Vegas is a devastated land right now. It's a bad land. It's a fucking wasteland. No one even really wants to go to Vegas because there's just so many other more convenient options. You got fucking crypto gaming. You got fucking sports books in every other state. No one gives a fuck anymore. The allure has been destroyed for all intents and purposes. So you ain't gonna recapture those experiences in the modern world. And like even those of us who are the most adventurous are kind of forced to go into these lame avenues of making money, right? Everything's fucking remote. And the consequences of this socially on our youth, I'm telling you, give it 10 years and watch the fucking social retardation that you see spawning from everyone just making money from their fucking home and shooting emails and jumping on a quick phone call. And just the amount of energy that you had to have to run around town, getting valet, getting fucking rental cars, landing at the fucking airport. I mean, you're talking literally a full fucking day just to get a bet down. It's like a 10, 11-hour investment. And not only did you just invest 11 hours of your day, you might just get there and you might get wiped out to zero in like 2 hours and might have to go home and restart the whole process. It's another 11 hours back. By the time you fucking recapture your mental game, by the time you're settled in, by the time you're home, by the time you got your routine finished, you're at home and your whole day has been pissed away. And it's a fucking shame that some of you motherfuckers will never get to experience that. So yeah, the era of the bad boy is done. It's over. I mean, bad boys are down horrendous in the modern world. Down horrifically. Because you gotta adapt or be killed. There's another piece that I wanted to harp on for a second. There's this common misconception that I see everywhere on Twitter where a lot of young men have somehow been inculcated with the idea that as a male, you're supposed to be very protective of your energy. Like who you let into your energy, what kind of negativity you expose yourself to. That is the gayest fucking thing I've ever heard by a mile because men by nature, by our very nature, are men don't take on the energy of other beings like women do. Women are very susceptible to negativity, to negative energy, to negative spirit, shit like that. Men, not so much. Men, not so much. You know what I'm saying? The county coroner can be fucking picking up literally bone scraps from a motherfucker who just got into a head-on collision on the highway, and that motherfucker can do his job, collect the fucking grizzle and human bones scattered all over the fucking highway. And guess what? When he goes home to his wife and kids, he ain't dumping that negative energy on them. Men are flame retardant in that way. We're flame retardant. Like the flame doesn't really bite deeply when men are operating in a high performance position that requires a tremendous amount of stress. Neurosurgeons also ring a bell. Motherfuckers who are drilling skulls open and doing craniotomies and clamping aneurysms. I mean, these motherfuckers you got to be cut from a different cloth to want to be doing something like that. Like we all know that's not a normal path. You got to be relatively kind of sadistic in your own head to be doing that type of shit, to be playing God with other people's lives. And these motherfuckers are in there drilling people's heads open, removing the top like a fucking piece of glass, going in there and fucking with the circuitry in people's brains. And they come home to their wife and kids, and that energy don't rub off on them either. Men are very, very naturally resistant towards energy. You know, there's a lot of rhetoric on Twitter right now about men sleeping with trashy women or stuff like that, and how it's just as perilous for men to go down this avenue because that is a complete fucking crock of shit. I know so many fucking Casanovas who've ran through tons of women. Men do not pick up the craziness or insanity or energy of women the same way that women do to men. It's just not the case. We all know if you analyze it deep enough, you know you can get away with being with a crazy ass chick for a short period of time, and you walk away from that and it just sloughs right off your fucking back like water. Come on, baby. Who the fuck you trying to fool here? Men are naturally durable as fuck, as I've always said. So the energy just doesn't rub off. And for that reason, I have always enjoyed taking on the toughest cases, toughest challenges. I talk to everybody, by the way. I talk to everybody. I talk to the biggest losers on earth. I'll talk to fucking crackheads, psychos, criminals, fucking robber barons. I don't give a fuck. I will sit down with anyone and have a conversation. I don't care how gory. I don't care how graphic. I don't care how fucked up clinically someone is. I'll have the conversation because I'm walking away from that and I'm very thick skinned. That is not going to perturb my life or my psyche. I can go in, have the performance, and then boom, compartmentalize and check out. And compartmentalization is 100% a male feature, bona fide male feature. And I think a lot of you motherfuckers are afraid to expose yourself to some of these darker energies in other people. And you're doing yourself a massive disservice socially because that's really where you fucking kind of tickle the underbelly of the beast and learn the most about human nature is by dealing with motherfuckers who are not considered classically normal. And so lack of exposure to that, there's no other way to see it as just a preservation of innocence, which is a feminine trait. Women should absolutely have their innocence preserved, and men should have theirs taken away as early as possible. It circles perfectly into my point about how here's another bullshit piece of rhetoric for you guys to fucking chew on. Let me tell you this right now. This is a bona fide lie. This idea that winners and killers only hang out with winners and killers, that rich motherfuckers only hang out with rich motherfuckers. Get the fuck out of here. You want both. Real winners have a cadre of both. Every winner that I know that's a true winner, that's crushing it in their field, has tons of fucking losers on their team. I don't think you motherfuckers truly understand how utilitarian losers are. And when I say loser, I mean net worth. All right. That's how we're gauging it here. We're just talking about someone who's just broke or never handled large sums of money or just doesn't know how to play the game of capitalism. That's what we classically would call a loser. So here's the situation. Let me explain this to you. We all know that the smartest motherfuckers that you know right now, think about this. The people that you love, that you would want to smoke on a fucking Tuscan balcony, smoking a cigar, the smartest motherfuckers that you would love to speak to in your personal life are most likely not very flush with cash. We all know these guys. We all know geniuses that have unbelievable, unbridled knowledge and wisdom about everything. But for some reason, they don't know how to execute for themselves and they don't know how to self promote and they don't know how to make a buck. But they're smart as fuck. We all know these people and they're very interesting to talk to. And the reason being for that is that losing teaches you everything about life. That's a fucking fact. Winning teaches you absolutely nothing about life. Nothing. Zero. There is zero wisdom to be gleaned from winning. All of life lessons are taught when you get your ass handed to you. So naturally, losers are always extremely fucking wise. I'll tell you right now, some of the best fucking advice I've ever gotten in my life has been from straight fucking losers. I'm talking business advice, even fucking crypto calls. I'll tell you this. 3 years ago in crypto, early on, I was I ran up a massive bag. I ran up an 8-figure bag. Or it might have been 2020. And you motherfuckers won't believe who was giving me my calls. It was some broke motherfucker living in a dormitory in like Chicago. Broke. Broke. And I was going to him for the crypto calls, even though at the time I had a deep network and I could have talked to motherfuckers with like 9-figure portfolios. I don't want to talk to those motherfuckers. I want to talk to the guy who's in the trenches, who doesn't have bread, who's literally trying to fucking sift through the fucking haystack to find these gem calls because his literal life is fucking dependent on it. This motherfucker better make good calls or he's gonna miss a fucking massive cycle. And I know for a fact there's tons of motherfuckers on this show listening right now who you don't have much money, but you know you're fucking talented traders. You make fucking great calls all the time. You just don't have the fucking capital or size to make a fucking difference. So my point is, a motherfucker like me, I'm getting the best calls of my life. And every time I'd get on the phone with this kid, he'd be like, I don't understand why you're talking to me. He's like, you have access to these fucking discords, the fucking group chats. Why are you getting the advice from me? And I told him, look, man, it's the sincerity. It's the sincerity. Like your calls, your picks are gonna be as pure, untainted as humanly possible because you have to win. You're hungry. So I'm gonna ride with you. And by the way, his narratives, everything he would express to me was geniusly fucking articulated. It's not like this guy was feeding me spoons of bullshit because I have a great detector for that. This motherfucker was on point. He was calling the narratives out before they were happening. So I literally rode a broke college kid's fucking picks who had $0 to his name. I rode that shit to 8 figures. And my point is, if you're a real leader and you're really the guy, you can turn anybody into a winner on your team. There's like the loser dichotomy gets very foggy after a while. It gets very hazy. The lines get very, very blurred if you're a true leader because you'll bring out the best. You will literally make losers look like winners if they're on your squad. And some of these guys have a ton of fucking heart. You know what I'm saying? They're just genetically cucked in the sense that like they have multiple generations of family members that simply just never made money. So it's kind of genetically encoded in them to not really be that ambitious, et cetera, et cetera. Because I do think money is genes. Money is 100% genetic. Like the ability to generate money, the kind of numbers you play with, it's genetic. If you got fucking royal blood who's been dealing with large sums of fucking money, I mean, I can fucking paradrop you in the Oblast in fucking Russia with nothing. And I'm sure you'll be rich in 6 months. You know what I'm saying? So there's definitely a genetic component to this. So my point is the losers, you want both is the fucking moral of the story. You want fucking both. I want advisement from the 9-figure motherfuckers, but I'm not gonna fucking discount the kid in his fucking dormitory who's putting in 13 hours a day of fucking due diligence. I ain't writing that motherfucker off. I want to talk to him because I want my ears to the ground and I want to understand what the common man has to say because those guys usually have a true finger on the fucking pulse. So I'll tell you right now, the most talented squads in the world have a motley crew of losers and winners and everything, every fucking thing in between. It ain't just all A1 shark killers. Those teams do not work well. I've seen it with my own 2 eyes. I don't know if you motherfuckers remember the Vegas Golden Knights hockey team. The first year that they were banded together, the Vegas Golden Knights, that team was assembled as an expansion team. And if you know anything about hockey, when there's an expansion team, every team basically has to drop 1 or 2 players. They have to literally cut them from the roster and they have to donate these players to this team. So every team in the league had to trim the fat and shed their fucking who they felt were their weakest players to assemble the Vegas Golden Knights. Well, let me tell you something. That team ended up fucking crushing that year. They were monsters. And you know what? You know what the common thing was? They were all bonded by rejection. That whole team, every one of them was rejected and kicked off their fucking team. And so they were united behind that. They were united by the concept of fucking rejection. And it bonded them together and they fucking had insane fucking chemistry. And I think they almost won the cup. That team was fucking badass. And they were all just the guys who you literally would have all no names. And then all of a sudden, superstars emerged from that. Fucking lesson in there. Let me let me run through some of these questions. I'm looking forward to this because my audience is impressive as fuck. Whenever I do these types of things, I'm always impressed at the thoughtfulness and inquisitive nature of some of you motherfuckers. I mean, I definitely have curated a fucking baller audience. You motherfuckers are pretty fucking sharp compared to some of these other fucking accounts that I see. Let's go through here and see what we got. I haven't really read any of this shit. I'm gonna just try to go off the top of the dome and see what we can do. How to balance spending time with your woman without getting too comfortable because of her. So he's asking how to balance spending your time with your woman without getting too comfortable with her. Here you go, baby. This is literally the central thesis behind why they say that the fucking he who wears the crown, the crown is heavy. The crown is fucking heavy. That hoplite winged fucking bronze aged fucking helmet that you guys, all you motherfuckers revere, that's a heavy fucking crown. And I'll tell you why. Because living in a household with a woman as a winner, as a leader, as a fucking steward of a household, you're gonna have to have monkeys on your back. All right? And that's just a fucking fact. There's no way around it. There's gonna be monkeys on your back as a leader, as a winner. And there's gonna be many times in life when you are in a leadership position and you are captain of the fucking ship and you have a crew where you are gonna have to drag motherfucking corpses across the finish line. People who are gassed, people who are tapped out, people who are lacking stamina, motherfuckers who have Montezuma's revenge, motherfuckers who have dyspepsia, fucking health problems. Like, as a leader, your job is to sometimes you gotta literally throw everyone on your fucking back and get across the fucking line. And sometimes you gotta do that over and over and over and over again. Now, I'll tell you right now, there is zero question that having a family, living with a woman, etc., is 100% gonna slow you down. If you're a fucking sharpshooter, cowboy, and motherfucker who likes to fucking run around and run and gun, yes, it's gonna slow you down, 100%. But it's an energy thing. To answer your question, it is an energy thing. If you are a motherfucker who has high energy, this is why high energy is just goated in general. Like, no money is, there's no problem in the world that's a money problem. There's no problems. Everything is an energy problem. Because if you have high energy and you can generate money, energy from scratch out of thin fucking air like an alchemist, you don't have any problems. Everything's fixable. Everything is. Literally out of thin air. So your money problems are an energy problem. Your relationship problems are an energy problem. It's all about high energy. So this is the bottom fucking line. And so if you're a fanatic and you're one of these obsessed freaks like myself and you have a mission and you're hell bent on some sort of gratification or gratitude or legacy in this life, then you have an abundance of energy. And one of the things that is very controversial, but it's very true, and I want you to really pay attention to what I'm about to tell you, because this is gonna hit hard. When you are a strong male, and when I say strong, I'm not talking muscle. When you're strong, when you're well-rounded, when you don't really have too many weaknesses, motherfuckers, everybody, even the ones who love you the most, are gonna prey on your energy. They're gonna feed off your energy like a fucking parasite. They're gonna have to. They're gonna have to. But you have so much of it that you can afford to let a little bit of that cannibalism happen. And that's exactly what goes on in a household. There's a level of like vampiric cannibalism that goes on an energy level, where if you're a dude who has a grand fucking mission and you need to accomplish something, but you also have a woman to take care of, you got kids to take care of, you got employees, you got mouths to feed, all of these people will be preying on your energy, but you don't give a fuck because you know you never lose. So you don't mind having the monkey on your back. You know what I'm saying? And this is why I told you the holy grail in 2024 for running a proper relationship and being in a long-term one that's going to work for a really long time. I'm telling you right now, without a shadow of a fucking doubt, it is your woman has to perceive on some level that you are crazier than she is. That is it. That is literally the fucking Rosetta Stone. If your woman perceives that you are crazier than her, because women have a lot of energy. Women can get ferocious, right? Women love long, drawn out arguments and fights. They can go for fucking hours. But if you're a motherfucker with the stamina to hang in there and you got the endurance and you can just let everything fucking pile up on you and you can still accomplish your tasks and manage it all, you're gonna literally go like there's no limits in the sky of what you can achieve. And so as a leader, you got to be comfortable giving your energy away. And this ties in perfectly to what I just told you guys about the losers, right? Like there's a lot of you that are talking about protect my time, protect my energy. Motherfucker, you are low energy if that's the way you live. If you have to be parsimonious, if you have to be parsimonious with your energy and reserve and conserve, you're a low energy motherfucker. And that's a huge problem. And that's the root of your problem. There's no amount of avoidance, seeing a bum on the street and walking across the street. There's no amount of avoidance of negative energy that's going to solve the root of that problem. You have an energy problem. And if you're a high energy motherfucker who's going all the fucking time, you don't give a fuck about giving away your energy because you're always going to get it back. Do you understand the metaphor? And that's the same with money. The reason why a high energy motherfucker like Elon Musk, me, anybody, anybody who's high energy can take these megalithic fucking mammoth risks and be okay with the outcome is because you got the energy to fall back on. It's never about the money to fall back on. It's not even about the confidence to fall back on. The energy is the confidence. Do you understand? The energy is the Ding an sich, the thing in itself. It's the German philosopher. The Ding an sich, the energy in itself is the thing in itself. And that's all you should be focused on. And the way to get that Promethean godlike energy is to not obey the conscious mind. Do you understand? Someone asked me, I'm gonna pull up this fucking comment right now. I'm gonna pull this up for you because you gotta listen to this. Here's one of the questions in the comment section. He goes, when you made all the money that you did, why did you keep going after you beat the game and continue to take risks? He's making a mention of the fact that I told you guys I burned 17 million in like 2017. He's asking me if you had all that money and you beat the game of capitalism, why didn't you quit? Let me tell you something. If I was conscious of why I was gunning for that kind of money, I would have never made that money in the first place. Chew on that one for a second. If I was consciously aware of why I was gunning for 20, 30, 40, 50 million, I never would have come close to that number in the first place. It's because I was unconscious that I achieved it. Do you understand? Like, good luck trying to consciously be a fucking professional baseball player. Good luck with that. There's nobody in the MLB right now who consciously chose that path. They had no choice. They had to become it. Like, it's really that fucking real. Like, if you have to consciously walk yourself into situations and talk yourself up to get stuff done or to become someone or something, you're not going to go very far. You know what I'm saying? That's why, like, the whole leaning into your nature thing is actually a good metaphor of that death rebirth parable that I gave you, because it really is about stripping away. Leaning into your nature is about letting the reptilian brain run the show. And you just step out of your own way. I will venture to tell you that the biggest winners in life don't really do that much different shit than every other ordinary person. They just stay out of their own way less than everybody else. Like the conscious, hyper normie, thoughtful Apollonian types, they're just always standing in their own fucking way, preventing themselves. Like they have the override button. They're just gonna consciously override their animal, bestial impulses all the fucking time through reason and rationale, that sort of Apollonian method. And they're gonna just constantly minimize entropy. You're never gonna maximize entropy. You're never gonna throw the deck of cards in the air and see what lands. It's never gonna happen for you in that context. I'm gonna ask another question right now. Yeah, this fucking questions were good. How has high stakes living, gambling, etc., cultivated the deepest parts of your character to the surface, the ones that most people don't even entertain? Well, I just answered that. I mean, the high stakes living, look, all my bets are hedged in life. Do you understand? Like, I can fire indiscriminately and recklessly because all my bets are hedged because my hedge is my energy. I have an endless well of energy. I'm doing what I was cosmically designed to do, which is take risk. It's just in my fucking blood. I don't have to consciously do a goddamn thing. I wake up every day and I'm on the fucking prowl. I have been forever. It's always been like this. Like I literally took my hands off the wheel so long ago. And this is sort of like some Eastern mystic offshoot bramble that I'm talking about. It's like sort of an olive branch. And I understand that. But it's so fucking true. It's like you gotta ride the winds of life. Sometimes you gotta work with the wind. You know what I mean? When the wind ain't blowing, sometimes you're doing nothing. One of the most interesting things about hunting in general is that when you think about a hunter, you think about an aggressor, right? You think about a fucking ferocious predator that's feral. But one of the most interesting facets of hunting in general is the patience aspect of it. The most important part of a hunt is the patience. I've seen this live. I've seen fucking red-tailed hawks chilling up in the branch doing nothing, sitting on their hands doing nothing, metaphorically, scanning the fucking environment. They look bored to tears because they're fucking dopamine junkies. All predators are. And they're just watching and they're not moving a muscle. And then boom, they see the opportunity and they go full fucking ballistic, fast twitch muscle fiber strike. And that is the prototypical human way to live, by the way. You know what I'm saying? Who makes the most bags in crypto? Some motherfuckers who just sit and wait and do nothing, right? And then boom, sell at the top or close to it. Like hunting is a very patience based, very, extremely. It's arguably more important than the offensive attack itself. It's just finding the correct opportunity. And it's funny that animals do that. Animals will only go for low leverage opportunity if they're dying and their back's against the wall and it's like the fucking it's their clarion call. Then they'll fucking go for a stupid fucking gamble or try to take down an animal that's risky if they're literally starving to death. But predators are pretty high leverage animals and they only attack in situations where it makes perfect sense to do so. And I believe humans are no different. And so a lot of the success in life is just about literally stepping out of your own fucking way. Take your hands off the wheel sometimes, you get the best news of your life. You know what I'm saying? You can go get a tarot card reading right now. You can get the broken heart lovers cards. You can fucking get the fucking black Mustang. Whatever the fuck the symbolism is. You can go to the doctor and he can tell you you need to come back in for scans. But I guarantee you if you take your hand off the wheel for a second and just surf the tides of life, you'll get the best news you've ever fucking heard. That's how it works. Everyone's trying to fucking intervene and exert too much fucking control and power over everything. And that's sort of the thing that I was trying to examine about the losing streak. Because I had a tweet about losing streaks this week because I find them to be intriguing and they're very under discussed. Losing streaks, like the science and technology and telemetry of a losing streak, is a very under discussed topic in society because everything has been hyper normified. And most people are not lunatic enough to even go deep enough into a process to even have an unbelievable, statistically improbable losing streak. Like most people, if they try something and they lose 5, 6, 7, maybe 10 times is the threshold, your average person is just gonna be like, this shit ain't for me, and turn around and walk the other way. But some of us, the more enthusiastic, the more risk inclined, will literally battering ram that same process hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times and absorb a multiple hundred fucking losing streak before we get a win. And I've done this, by the way. I ran one of the greatest fucking social experiments ever because I wanted to understand the science behind a losing streak. Like, how is this possible? Because the math doesn't check out. There's something supernatural going on here. Some of you will recall one of my older spaces. I I had a 6 month losing streak where I did not have one winning day, and I just kept firing, and I just kept firing, and I just kept firing, and I was firing into a wall, beating my head against the wall every day. And I to this day I have no idea how I came out of the other side of this losing streak because I've never been so imbued with wrath and fury during this particular period of my life. It was unbelievable that nothing I did. So basically, the streak was going on for so long that I was like, you know what? Fuck it. System ain't working. My picks ain't working. My mental game's not there. I'm gonna start doing fucking wacky shit to try to make these calls. Like, let's fucking hire a fucking capuchin and have that motherfucker start throwing darts at the picks. Let's fucking call up a random dude I haven't talked to in 6 years, ask him who he likes, whoever he says, let's fucking do it. Let's fucking blindfold me, turn myself around 3 times, and I'll just fucking keno the picks. I'll just randomly pick picks on the fucking board blindfolded. I tried every fucking trick in the book, offloading it, having someone else make the calls. Guess what? The losing streak got worse. It got worse. And I'm telling you the reason is that when you exert too much control over anything, because even offloading it to someone else and having them make the calls, I'm trying to I'm trying to kind of biohack it in a way, right? I'm trying to hack reality. I'm offloading, I'm shouldering it to somebody else, but I'm still exerting control. And I just see over and over again in my life the biggest wisdom that I've accrued is that people who are always trying to exert way too much control over situations get fucking smoked the hardest. Smoked. Smoked. I mean, you see this in professional sports. There's a phenomenon in professional sports called the yips, where it's called the yips. A baseball player, a pitcher, will literally be on the mound and he'll have sound mechanics, sound biomechanics for an entire season. And then maybe playoffs will come around. And something happens to where he becomes consciously aware of what he's doing. He becomes consciously aware of the movement for whatever reason. And now the motherfucker can't hit the strike zone. It'll be the best pitcher in the world. They all go through the yips, every single one of them. And it's always the conscious awareness of the movement throws them off cadence, throws them off rhythm, and you get into a massively vicious cycle where these guys are in their head now. They're up on the mound. They're like, fuck, I got to kick my foot back here. I got to fucking extend my shoulder here. I got to make sure my labrum's in this position. Ball and socket joint. Or my scapula fucking protracted. Shit like that. And now you're analyzing yourself. Now you're breaking yourself down. Now you're cutting yourself to pieces. Guess what? That losing streak doesn't go away until complete dissolution of cognitive awareness is complete. Until you shake it out long enough and you just stop giving a fuck, then the yips go away. But it's insane because you're just in a vicious spiral. The more this mechanic doesn't work, the more you're trying to get it back. The more you try to get it back, the less it works. Now you're analyzing your fucking feet, the way they're positioned. Boom, everything's breaking down. You're making the situation 100 fucking times worse. The mind, the conscious mind, is the most uncooperative son of a bitch in the universe. Prove me wrong. Good luck trying to fucking tame your mind all day. Tell yourself what to do. Fucking, your mind is extremely fucking disobedient. And that's why I'm saying the apex fucking philosophy. And this shit is zen as fuck. But you ain't gonna read it in a book. It's exclusive to these fucking spaces. Take your hands off the fucking wheel and see what happens. Let the reptile navigate. Let the reptile be the cartographer. You know what I'm saying? Let the fucking reptile stencil the map together for you. You'll know what you're naturally inclined to do. You'll understand what your natural impulses are pretty quickly. Rationalization and neocortex living are for retrospect and storytelling. Shit like that. You know what I'm saying? What I'm doing right now. Getting up and telling a story, remembrance, sentimentalism, shit like that, harking back. That's when the neocortex is valid. But during a process, during a streak, during a run, during a mission, your motherfucking enemy. I'm gonna keep answering questions here. Been tearing my head apart looking for the explanation for the exception to the lateral achievement principle. What does it boil down to, achieving something without it being lateral indirect? There is no exception to the lateral achievement principle. You cannot target a goal directly in life. It doesn't work like that. You know what I'm saying? If you're taking long distance shots, which every goal is going to be long distance. You have to factor in the wind, motherfucker. You got to work with it. And a lot of times it involves just putting up enough volume of shots and letting the wind carry the bullet into the fucking bullseye. A lot of you motherfuckers are trying to sharpshoot way too much. You're going after things directly. The supercar, the house, the fucking French Riviera pad, whatever the fuck your goal is. That ain't the way. It ain't the way. You put up a shot and you got to let the other forces of life kind of coast and guide your shots into the target. It's a fucking volley, man. It's a volley. I mean, I've put up some of the most ridiculous shots, honest to God, likely in human history. I really don't know anyone who's really gambled at my level relatively to just having no real safety net. Like for a guy who's literally tightrope walking Niagara Falls with no harness, I really don't know anyone who's done it at the level. I don't. I think I've carved out a pretty fucking unique path. And I can tell you that I am wholeheartedly willing to ride a roller coaster to the end of any process. I don't I don't want to get off. I'm not getting off a roller coaster too early. That's been like a rule of thumb of mine for forever. I will go through as much pain as humanly possible and as much suffering as humanly possible to ride it out until the end. And it doesn't matter what it is, a relationship, a friendship, a pact. I mean, when you have this mentality, you're gonna see a lot of casualties and you're gonna see a lot of friendly fire because you're gonna see that a lot of people will tap out along the way. And rightfully so. Most people just don't have the freakery to see a process through to this level that I'm discussing. But I'm one of those guys, and I will see a process through to the end. Whether I got nobody left, whether I got no one rocking with me, it doesn't matter. I still got to get to the end. As a father, how do you break the trap of successful parents having loser kids, which you've talked about and is 100% true? Yeah, I mean, it was the concept that I discussed about how it's funny how loser fathers typically have the, not from a middle perspective, but they have the greatest dice cast to create a super fucking compensatory human being, right? Because we've talked about how pain and trauma do create these sort of super overcompensations in the biological organism. And, there's attributes that sort of spurn from hurt and pain, especially as a youngster. And so a lot of high achievers, I venture to say most of them actually in any domain, usually had very rocky upbringing or rocky relationships with their parents. And very successful fathers typically have loser children because there is this biological imperative where a child naturally wants to live in the shadow. There's like a built-in governorship in the male hardware that almost doesn't want you to hit the gas pedal and pass your father. It's almost like literally baked into the matrix, baked into the game. And so the only people who are given the grace or basically get the governorship uninstalled to be able to fucking zoom past their dad is the child who's been exiled from the father. because the exile is sort of that deprogramming process where, you're not talking to your father for a long period of time. You figure out your own identity. You fucking let the reptile brain kick in. Like, there's a reason why even Knights of the Round Table, Merlin, all these fucking ancient fucking tall tale stories, Paul Bunyan, all of these tales have elements of rites of passage where a young man goes out into the wild, verdant forest and fights for himself and comes back with whatever trophies he's killed in the forest, and then comes back and reintroduces himself to his father. There's a reason why that rite of passage is real. It's literally every fucking youngster has to go through a very, very, I would say a couple year period of time where you really don't have a deep connection with your parents. And I think that's tantamount and paramount to that self-discovery process. And then once you know who you are and you know your path, then of course you go back and now you're a stronger unit. Now you can have a much better relationship with your family without the ultimatums and without the programming that's been held over your head your whole fucking life. Do some people just need to fully scorch every last dopamine receptor before they can flow and get out of their head? Why do some people need to move mountains as a cope just to laterally achieve some goal? And is it a blessing or a curse or both? A lot of lateral achievement questions. So he's asking why some people need to fully fucking torch their dopamine in order to be motivated and are constantly fucking chasing and seeking. And the thing is I've been telling you guys forever, the only way to live life as a man to get the peak experience is to get the fuck out of your head. That's it. It's literally, that's why I told you masculinity is actually a dumb energy, because you're just completely out of your head. Um, and the only way to achieve that is to fucking fry your dopamine receptors. Chasing shiny objects, shit like that. I once said that shiny object syndrome is the goated apex philosophy, and I stand by that 100%. I think men should be chasing whatever fucking shiny industries are cropping up, cutting edge shit all the fucking time, like a cat chasing a laser. I think that is 100% in alignment with the male instinct. 100%. Shiny object syndrome. Fuck, man. That's a clear and classic way to win. Chase what's fucking shiny. Thoughts on health insurance? Dude, I've never had health insurance my entire life. Ever. I I I do think there is some fucking strange, it's not even strange. It makes perfect fucking sense. People who have health insurance are gonna find 100 ways to use it. I'll tell you that right now. If you're paying a fucking premium and you have health insurance, you're gonna find a way to get your money's worth. You're gonna find a way to get your ass in that fucking doctor's office. But it's funny how when you don't have health insurance, it's not even in the back of your head. I mean, I haven't had to go to the doctor for like 20 years. Like, I've only gone to a doctor electively. I've never had any, and I'm Olympic lifting. I do dangerous lifts with my body. I subject my body to insane and ferocious trauma regularly, and I've just never had to go see a doctor. I mean, kind of suspicious. The guy who doesn't have health insurance never gets sick and never has fucking health issues. Most profound rebirth moment in your life that changed the way you live going forward. I don't actually believe these things are real. I hear stories on Twitter all the time of people that talk about watershed moments in their life, and they sort of romanticize it, like this Melvillian sort of romance where they're like, such and such happened, and I was sitting on a fucking park bench in fucking torrential downpour in downtown Denver, and I was sitting on the bench smoking my last cig, and then it dawned on me. And from that moment forward, I decided that I was never gonna fucking do XYZ ever again. Bullshit. That is not how life works on any fucking level, not even a cellular level. I don't believe in watershed moments. I don't believe that people just wake up one day and just randomly decide to never do something again. If you do make a radical change in your life, it has been on your mind and the course has been set for you long ago, my friend, and you are now just experiencing the levitation of destiny. Watershed moments aren't real. Epiphanies are real, but that's for entertainment purposes only. Because by the time you get an epiphany, that's the fucking paradox of an epiphany, by the way. You only get an epiphany and a revelation when it's least useful to you. It'll be like 5 years down the road, you'll just fucking crack the code on something that was fucking harassing your psyche for like 5 years, and you'll be like, now I get it. When it's totally fucking useless. When you're searching and besieging a fucking epiphany or revelation, it evades the fuck out of you. You see how everything I say is tying into this take your hands off the fucking wheel? It's like you search, you search, you search, you gun, you gun, you gun. It kind of eludes you. You still got to put up shots, but you kind of got to balance it. You got to walk away from the outcome. Can man change or is self help a scam? Self help is 100% a scam in the sense that men absolutely do not change whatsoever. I'm actually really going to the drawing board here, and I'm almost wondering if men even gain experience. Because I'll tell you something, the biggest domains in life, the biggest ones, money, women, family, all that shit, the 50,000 the 50,000th attempt is just as fucking daunting and grueling as the ones prior to. Like, I'm definitely numb to the outcome, but losing $1 million is always gonna feel like losing $1 million. Doesn't matter what it's worth. Like, it's always gonna the pain is the same. 100 fucking percent. The only thing that truly changes in a man is his perspective. You can only change the way you see things and look at things, but you will never change yourself. It's all bullshit. It's why the recidivism rate in Alcoholics Anonymous is insane. It's why trying to fight addiction through self-help groups is insane. It's never going to happen. You cannot outrun your nature. You can't do it. You can win the battle year after year after year. You will lose the war, though. You will lose the war. Now, there's obviously ways to arrest the development, and there's a lot of ways and like strategies you can put in place to prevent yourself from self-destructing too much. But if you have like an addictive personality or you have some kind of addiction, that's with you for life. That's 100% never going away. Once you become addicted to anything, it's pretty much a wrap. Unless you want to completely get a lobotomy and dull your edge down and become the hypernormie path. That's the only way it's going to work. And even then, I still think nature bats last. You can build a house over a fucking oak stump, but eventually that shit's going to burst through the fucking floorboards. And your nature is no different. It's 100% going to rear its ugly head at some point and get you. And get you. So the point of the matter is when it comes to these types of things or personality traits, or people always talk about wanting to change themselves, you don't really want to change yourself. You want to change the way you see and frame situations. That's the only thing that's valuable. The only valuable thing in life for change is literally changing the way you look at it. And that allows you to soldier on. You know what I mean? And that's like, honestly, that's what wisdom is. Wisdom is just a gigantic fucking reservoir. It's an archive in your head where when you go through a situation that resembles something that you've been through that's closely similar, you can quickly flip through the Rolodex and you can panel through and thumb through these images in your head, and you'll land on the correct response to it almost instantaneously. That's it. You're just finding basically a mental structure that you can cleave onto. It's like some sort of mental scaffolding to just basically help you kind of just move through it. But nothing changed, just the way you look at it does. And that's everything, by the way, because when you change the way you look at things, everything does change. What do you think of war? I think war in the modern terms is extremely fucking homosexual for sure. Definitely ain't really any wars worth fighting for from a fucking government conscript perspective. Um, that's all I'll say on that. How does the alcoholic or the fat guy know if their edge is the alcohol or food in itself, or if they need to remove it and the true edge is the addictive personality? All right, this is a great fucking question. So the fanaticism about anything is where people get their energy from. In other words, the PD camp. Okay. Let's fucking take them as a prime example. The PD camp is under the impression that this mystical, magical, whimsical diet that they've discovered is what's giving them all this fucking energy and fucking keeping their body temp high and giving them fucking vitality. Not the case. It's the obsession over the PD shit that is way more powerful than whatever fucking protocol you're doing. It's like this with everything. Your diet, it doesn't matter really what the fuck it is. If you're obsessed with meticulously crafting it, like being a control freak over your diet, having a militant viewpoint towards your diet, curating a perfect fucking diet, the benefit ain't, you get more benefit from just being a control freak and obsessed with your diet than you do from the nutrition itself. Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? Like, this mechanism you see everywhere. The no-fap guys claim that by not jacking off, they're getting fucking boundless wells of energy. And fucking women are looking at them different. And fucking when they walk by, the birds are fucking crooning at them. Donkeys are fucking looking at them and shit. The animal kingdom is fucking walking up to them like they're fucking Saint Francis. I believe them. I do believe there is an awakening when they engage in nofap. But I'm telling you, the reason why it's working is because they've turned themselves insane, obsessing over something so fucking stupid. It's the obsession over it. Do you understand? It's the pathology. It's the fact that this person is so obsessed with nofapping that it's turning them into almost like a mad genius in a way. And that energy of obsessing over something and thinking about it all the time creates a spiral of energy. It's the obsession. It's never the thing that you're doing. It really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what fucking diet you're on. If a marketing campaign is strong enough to get you to think that fucking Krispy Kreme is fucking healthy for you and you are obsessed and you're feeling amazing and every time you eat a fucking donut you legitimately feel like you can fucking run a marathon, the placebo of the obsession is going to take you way further than the protocol itself. And that's why the PD thing works so well, because these people are fucking fanatical about their protocols. So the obsession itself is what's capturing people's attention. It's what makes them persuasive. It's what makes people want to fucking be a part of the community. Do you understand that? Because Ray Pete himself, in my eyes, was not that impressive of a guy. But his community that's fucking spawned on Twitter, the guys that are carrying the banner of Ray Pete are impressive to me because of the fucking dedication. These motherfuckers are in the lab cooking up all sorts of experiments and shit. I'm all about that. But I'm under no delusion that fucking drinking raw milk, eating ice cream, and eating fucking peeled peaches is magically gonna fucking make you a multimillionaire, get you the fucking wife of your dreams, and fucking put you on the map at a fucking Fortune 500 company. I'm under no fucking delusion. But the obsession will. And that's the lesson in there is the obsession over anything. It doesn't matter how trivial, how fucking stupid it is. It could be video games, anything. The obsession over anything ignites a spark in people and gives you a boundless well of energy. So you have to be cautious fucking giving fucking so much credence to all these fucking protocols. There's a new motherfucking protocol every fucking week on Twitter. I can't even keep up. There's a new fucking health fad, a new molecule that's unhealthy. Now fucking raw milk's unhealthy. Now fucking eggs are unhealthy. Now it's nonstop. So all of these people who are winning and getting these rewarding biofeedback loops from being fucking fanatics and psychos over these things, it's because they're psychos that they're winning. You feel me? What's your take on female nature is too complicated? What's your take on female nature is too complicated? Is it actually the opposite between genders? Female nature is the most logical force in the universe by far. Once you understand the way women work, everything they fucking do makes sense. I don't, there's zero confusion on my end as to why women do what they do. It's extremely linear and logical. Men, as I've always told you, are the emotional, illogical sex. A man won't even know who a woman is, won't even fucking know her name, but he will donate a kidney and sell his family down the river to go on a date with her. A woman, a woman don't care if you're dead or alive if she doesn't love you. They have the ability to go stone cold on your ass. Fucking sit here and tell me women are the emotional sex. Spanning through these questions here. One of the most fundamental issues in human experience is the incredible fallibility and weakness of our memory. So, my question is, how do you master memory? How do you make it more efficient to recall the most salient lesson or plan for each moment based on past experience? Let me tell you something very novel and interesting about memory that most of you probably do not know. The world itself is a gigantic hard drive. It's literally like a stick of RAM. And the best way I can articulate this to you is it's been basically, I have observed that there is definitely a finite storage capacity within your own brain to recall shit. That's definitely true. But the human body is so intelligent and so fucking divine that basically it uses the world as an external memory storage device. In other words, you will literally embed a memory into the external world. And if you go back to a certain location, or you go back and smell a certain scent, or if there's a certain musical note in the air, you hear a song, there's memory storage embedded in those external components that can only be relived and recalled when you walk back in that location, or smell that flower, or hear that musical note. And then the memory comes back. So basically, there's spillover. Your memory will definitely spill over things that it's not supposed to contain, and it'll store it into the actual landscape and geographical environment itself. You guys know what I mean. Like, you'll literally go back to a location or an exact spot that you used to hang out, and all of a sudden you'll be flooded with fucking memories. It'll be triggered. It's because memories do get embedded into the external hard drive. 1000%. That was a good question. If nature is perfect, the current world functions at around 80-90% hyper normie rate. Does that mean most men are destined to be a normie? Of course. Of course it does. But it's not a bad thing though. I mean, I do look at the normie as a pretty fucking solid path in the modern world. Like, as much as I fucking crucify the middle, I do think the middle is really the fucking pillar for sure. Um, and a lot of these guys are actually fucking sleeper cells. And I'll tell you this, the biggest crop of talent in the modern world, 100% is the fucking normies. It's the normies. The normies is where I want to pick talent from that fucking pool, the middle. If I have to fucking train someone or fucking get a fucking valiant fighter beside me in battle, or train someone in my business, or take someone on a fucking heroic mission, I 100% want to pick someone from the fucking middle, because it ain't about talent. If your leadership is proper, like I told you guys earlier, you can groom anybody from the middle to be a fucking killer. That's why I said I don't really think that talent is necessary. Talent is extremely overrated for sure. It's not the people that are seated in the throne that are the most talented. I hope you guys truly do understand that. I mean, talent is a curse in many ways. People that are born with a lot of talent usually fucking piss it away. Some kind of regression to the mean, for sure. It's the guys that have been slighted or been fucking bequeathed horrific characteristics that usually have the negative propulsion to take themselves off the ground and get into these high positions. It's the ones who have the natural talent. They usually are the ones who kind of hover and sail in the middle because they just don't have to work hard. It's kind of like the halo effect. Doors are always going to be revolving for them. You know what I'm saying? That's why you see like really handsome dudes usually with fucking mids. Very common. Very common. Because they don't have to really put in the work. They never had to, they were never ugly, they were never uncharismatic. They didn't have to learn game. It just was kind of built in for them. So when they don't have to learn game, they're hard capped as to the kind of caliber of women they can be with. How does a man get over the fear of cold approaching? I think cold approaching is not even the fucking correct method. I think that as a man, the best thing you can do for dating in general is to put yourself in a position where women are coming to you. That is the apex for sure. And the cold approach forcing shit, I just don't like it, man. It's fucking it's the shotgun approach. It's so low leverage. You know what I mean? I'm more of a marksman. I'm a sniper. I like to go deeper, not wider. I drill deep into one thing. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of guys really make a mistake of doing that grape shot of just fucking spray, 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 spray. It just comes off as fucking forced, man. Super fucking low leverage. Like you gotta get fucking home turf established. You gotta learn some fucking tricks to the game, man, first. Like the world that you guys perceive and see on a daily basis, you have no idea how fucking fake it all fucking is, man. It's so fucking fake. Every time I walked into a restaurant, for it could be first time. I haven't made reservations in fucking 15 years. I just refuse to do it. I will walk into the most crowded fucking spot anytime I damn well please. And when I walk up to the hostess stand and they tell me that they're fully committed, I will give them the Dikembe Mutombo finger wave. No. I will go walk past them and I will go directly to whoever has the motherfucking power in the establishment. And I guarantee you within 5 minutes, I'll have a fucking seat. Everything is fucking fake. The gatekeepers, it's all bogus. Like the power structures that really work, like the inner workings of it, the grandfather clock, you guys don't even understand how easily you motherfuckers surrender and take no for an answer. I just did it the other day. It's fucking hilarious. Crowded fucking Saturday night. Was meeting someone for a business dinner. Boom. Waltzed in, told me they're fully committed. I said, nah, no chance. Because I always know that's bullshit. That's some fucking teleprompt script that they're told to tell you to back you down. There's always a way. There's always a fucking table open. Velcro a fucking chair to the fucking roof if you have to. There's always a fucking table open. So I just walked right past, walked up to the manager. Very fucking courteous. Looked them dead in the eyes, hand on the shoulder, and just said, brother, I'm fucking starving. We have to get a seat. Oh, no problem, sir. Boom. Walks back to the hostess who I just told no chance. And she was forced and commanded by the motherfucker to seat me at the table. And it was fucking hilarious because she just told me no 5 minutes ago they had no seating. But 5 minutes later, I'm getting sat. And so that's my whole fucking point is then the no, like when you cold approach anything, it's such a fucking superficial fucking experience. Because if you had more time, if you were more established, if you had more ammo, it wouldn't be a no. So like I don't like those fucking quick, stupid fucking interactions. Super fucking lame.